Hi, I'm Xenia and I'm on a mission to fix constipation and bloating for everyone. Now, most of the constipation advice out there is about managing symptoms and not actually treating or healing the reason for the constipation. So the conventional advice from doctors is usually eat more fiber, drink more water, or take Miralax. And then there's the wellness industry that tells you to drink celery juice or take magnesium. And while a lot of these are great recommendations, none of these get into the why and fixing the why. So if you had a nail that got stuck in your foot, would you go out there and put a band-aid and put some antiseptic and take some painkillers? Or would you want to remove the nail and then heal the wound? The answer is pretty obvious, right? So let's get into it. Here's a 5-phase framework that works. Phase 1 is about optimizing the basics and making sure you have the foundations in place. First and foremost is hydration. When you wake up, have a warm glass of water with a pinch of salt, high quality sea salt, some lemon, maybe even some coconut water in there. Then there's meal timing. You don't want to be snacking. You need to be supporting the effectiveness of your migrating motor complex. So you're having 3 meals per day, 4 to 5 hours apart with no snacks in between, and a 12 to 14 hour overnight fast. You want to try to move for 10 to 15 minutes after each meal, either a short walk, some calf raises, some stretches, whatever's available to you. If you're in an office and you have to sit back down at your desk, just do some calf raises under your desk. Then there's positioning. Our bodies were not designed to poop in a 90-degree angle in the way that we sit on toilets. It was designed to poop in a squat. So get yourself a squatty potty, or even easier, just use the trash bin that's next to the toilet, a stack of books, anything that elevates your feet, but you want to be at an angle where it looks or feels like you are squatting. And then in the morning, don't rush. That's when your gastrocolic reflex is at its strongest. So give yourself that time to poop. Wake up 30 minutes earlier so you're not running out the door to your gym class. Just give yourself some time to go. Make sure all of these foundations are in place before you move on to any of the further phases. Phase 2 is all about supporting your digestive secretion. So first of all, stomach acid triggers that cascade, and then bile and digestive enzymes secrete. So low stomach acid is indicating by bloating right after you eat. It feels like your food just sits in your stomach. If you have acid reflux, if you have often stomach pains and gastritis, an easy way to test if you have low stomach acid is on an empty stomach, take a small glass of water, put a tablespoon of baking soda in there, mix it up and chug it, and set a 5-minute timer. If you burp in under 5 minutes, that's great. If it takes you longer than 5 minutes to burp, then it's likely that you have some low stomach acid. You can support that by adding a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and some water and taking that as a shot before your meals. I know there's some ACV capsules on the market as well. Gummies do not work. Please don't try those. Or if you're sure you don't have an infection like H. pylori, you can also take some betaine HCl capsules before meals. Everybody can benefit from taking digestive bitters, which is like a spray that activates the production of your digestive enzymes about 10 minutes before meals. But to be honest, I even take mine like right before I eat. They stimulate bile production, which stimulates movement and peristalsis. Remember, low bile is slow colon. So you can do that by adding bitter foods or just using a Swedish bitters or digestive bitters spray that you can get on websites like iHerb. Also, eating beets and having adequate healthy fats in your food is great. And if not, you can also support yourself by taking TUDCA or ox bile, 125 to 250 milligrams per day to support your bile production. Be careful about taking digestive enzymes long term because they can suppress your natural digestive enzyme production. So you want to work on supporting your stomach acid production and your bile production as foundations for your digestive enzymes to be produced, unless you have a pancreatic insufficiency. Phase 3 is calming the nervous system. And this is the one that everybody skips and rolls their eyes at, and you sigh and like, oh my God, yes, everybody knows that the nervous system is stressed out. But if you don't address it, you're not helping yourself. When you are in a sympathetic state, meaning you're in a state of survival, your body is perceiving stress, it feels like it needs to preserve your life, it suppresses non-essential bodily functions, and your digestion is categorized as non-essential. So it slows down your transit time, it slows down your digestive outputs like stomach acid and bile, and you're you're not able to digest your food properly. So you can splash some cold water, do an ice bath on your face. You can hum or sing or gargle to stimulate your vagal tone. You can also do some box breathing or other breath work. Everybody's discovering breath work now. As simple as just taking 3 deep breaths before you eat, just to slow down and switch into a parasympathetic state. You can also do legs up the wall in the evening or castor oil packs, but there's a lot of different ways to support your nervous system. Let me know if you want me to do a whole separate episode on ways to support the nervous system so your digestion becomes better. Remember, these are not optional. Now, phase 4 is targeted supplementation. Supplementation is really individual, and it's very difficult to recommend a protocol for everyone without seeing your functional labs first. But there are a few supplements I believe that everybody who's struggling with constipation can benefit from. One of those is magnesium glycinate. Take before bed 300 to 400 milligrams. You can also take prokinetics between meals, either ginger tea or ginger capsules of 1000 milligrams, or something like Motil Pro Motility Activator. You can also take vitamin C, which is an osmotic laxative when taken at high doses. So if you take 2000 milligrams to 4000 milligrams overnight, it should provoke a bowel movement. You can also do a vitamin C flush to really clear out all the old stagnant stool in your bowel. Another one is Triphala. It's an old Ayurvedic combination of 2 supplements, 1000 milligrams before bed to provoke a bowel movement in the morning. Another great one is aloe vera gel. So you can just have some aloe vera juice in the morning or between meals as well. So these are just tools and crutches that you can use while you're figuring out the root cause of your constipation. Phase 5 is, of course, figuring out your own individual root cause for your constipation. If phases 1 through 4 for 4 to 6 weeks haven't been enough to budge your constipation, there's an underlying dysfunction that's deeper than that you need to figure out in order to heal. For that, ideally, you want to do a comprehensive stool test, like a GI map, to figure out if there are any pathogens, what are your levels of good commensal bacteria, what are your levels of opportunistic negative gram bacteria. You can also do a full thyroid panel because hypothyroidism, so an underactive thyroid, is often associated with constipation, but they're kind of in a vicious circle with one another. Another good one to do is a Dutch test, which assesses your daily cortisol pattern, so the functioning of your HPA axis and your hormone levels. These are all interconnected systems that affect the colon. Then there's another test called the OAT test that assesses the functioning of your liver and other detoxification pathways. Those pathways also affect the way that your colon works. I have a whole other video that talks about all the body's cascades that lead to constipation. So which systems in the body are connected to the constipation in your colon. So the point of all this is that constipation has layers. The first layer is hydration and fiber. And if you're not getting enough hydration and fiber, you're obviously going to be constipated. Then there's a middle layer, which is your nervous system and your digestive output. And if those aren't working upstream, then that leads to constipation downstream. And then there's the deepest layer, which is your individual pathogens. Do you have active infection, bacterial, fungal, parasitic, that is affecting your body's ability to utilize its digestive organs? Constipation is a symptom with a cause, and treating the symptom will always only provide temporary relief. If you want to long-term resolve your constipation, you do have to dig in and find your own personal cause. This is the first video in a series where I'm going to be diving into all the potential root causes in a series, identifying each individual cause of constipation. So if you're curious to learn more about that, follow along. And if you just want to get to the bottom of your constipation and heal it once and for all, running some functional lab tests, I'm going to drop a link in the description with a free discovery call with me to learn if I'm the right person to get you there. See you in the next one.